Hey y'all, it's Liz, the official craft nerd, and I'm bringing you some Dollar Tree DIYs today. The first two are inspired by another YouTuber called Measure and Mix, and I am going to link her awesome channel below. But this first project is actually a flower arrangement. I wanted to try to get some of my fall decor started, and I had a few of these very popular picture frames or what have you that have been in so many projects over the past, I'd probably say 6 or 7 months since I've seen, well no, I'll probably say even a year at this point. But I still had tons of these left over, so I thought this would be perfect for this year's fall decor. So all I'm doing here is just basically putting these all together. I did take off the backings to these as well as the clamps on the front of the galvanized metal. Then I also removed some of those, the back end prongs that hold the back in, just to make sure that it would glue evenly on the back. So that's what you see me doing there, just pulling that thing out. So yeah, I went ahead and I glued this just all with hot glue, of course, just for the purpose of the video. But if you do want to make it more permanent, you can definitely use, your E6000 or some super glue, depending on whatever you choose to use. But hot glue for me works perfectly fine. This is not something that's carrying anything super heavy. What I'm going to do here is put a base in it, and I'm just using a piece of cutout foam board from Dollar Tree, just shoving it down in there. And then kind of just adding a little bit of the hot glue just to kind of hold it in. But again, this is just a decor piece, so it's just going to kind of sit, in my living room, not really being messed with. So I'm not too worried about it being super sturdy to hold a lot of heavy stuff. So what I'm doing here is just taking a few of the Dollar Tree leaf picks that I found so far. And all I'm really doing is just bending the bottom and just kind of sticking them in there. What I did end up doing though was taking a piece of the floral foam and sticking it in there and kind of wedging it in, just to kind of use some of those smaller picks that I have. So they'll kind of just stand up a little bit better. But I absolutely loved how this turned out. There are a couple of picks in there that I got from Walmart that were 97 cents, and those are the ones with the pumpkins on them. I also got these bows from Dollar Tree as well, and I just thought it could use just a little bit of extra flair, so I stuck a bow on the front, and this is the final project. Totally love it. I think it's just super cute and definitely ready for fall. So this next project, this is also inspired by Measure and Mix. With this, I wanted to make a home sign, but I wanted this to also be multi-use. So there's actually going to be a bonus project with this one. So I was really excited when I figured out how I wanted to do this. And basically, I'm using wood glue and hot glue, and I'm gluing all 4 of these houses together. I'm not exactly sure what they call them, like a shadow box house, or what the decor purpose was for these before, but these have been excellent crafting pieces, and I know that they were pretty popular last year. I never saw them last year, or I didn't really get into making a lot of things from the Dollar Tree at that point, so I was really excited to be able to find at least a couple, and I actually could only find these 4, so I figured, if these are the only ones that I'm getting, then I definitely want to make sure that I get all the use out of it that I can. So as you see, I'm still just gluing all these together, and then once I'm done, I'm going to paint the inside. And the inside, I decided to go with my Waverly paint. I believe this one was the color Steel, and I just did a few coats. Actually, I think it took about 3 coats to cover the inside, and that was my mistake, because I probably should have tried to sand down the paper a little bit just to help the paint stick a little bit more, but the colors were pretty bright, so I kind of expected I was going to have to do a few layers of the paint. But it was all good. I used this color just because it matches lots of the decor pieces in my home already. And I know that I can use this year round if I wanted to. Now I'll tell you how you can change that out, but once you get this all done, you want to put some sort of lettering. And I'm going to spell out home, but I'm only going to be using the H, the M, and the E. I do have a Cricut, so I went ahead and just found a font that I liked and went ahead and cut the H, M, and E out so I can place it in the inside of my boxes here. And I do use a heat gun to kind of dry it up quicker so I can get this done faster. But here, as you can see, all I'm going to do is just take some of my transfer tape and place the letters in each of those boxes. Now, I know a lot of people have said that Dollar Tree has like a specific tape or this like a transfer tape there, but you know, I have not been able to find it. I've looked at all of my Dollar Trees and I've not been able to find this wonderful cheap version of this kind of tape. So I actually have a huge roll that I purchased off Amazon not too long ago, so it lasts me a good while, so I'm not too stressed out about it. But for those of you that do find it and use it, I mean, hey, what can you say? It's $1, it works, you can't beat that. Okay guys, so what I'm going to use for the O for this is just a pumpkin from one of the Walmart picks that I got for 97 cents. Absolutely love the pumpkin. I thought it was adorable. And because this is just hot glued down, I think you can replace it with anything you want if you want to use this year round. But since I am sticking with the fall decor pieces right now, I wanted to use the pumpkin. Now, what I did for the back of this, and this is part of the bonus project, you would say, I went ahead and painted the back black. Now, you can use a heat gun to remove those pesky labels so they don't rip off and peel off all halfway. But I did that first, and then I went ahead and painted this entirely with Waverly chalk paint and ink to make it completely black. Okay, so once this was dry, and again, I used the heat gun to dry it up faster, I went ahead and used my Cricut again to cut out a bunch of little windows and doors. I wanted to make this look like kind of like a haunted house type scene on the back. And you can kind of tell I did try to start painting them myself, and I didn't like how that was turning out. So I was like, nope, I'm just going to use my Cricut and cut out some windows and some doors and just have a little design. And this is pretty simple. I mean, it's not anything too extravagant and fancy. I know I probably could have got all detailed and, you know, painted everything really precise and took my time on it, but I was actually trying to do this on my lunch break, so I was going as quickly as I possibly could. So all I did was print these out on some orange vinyl, and, you know, as you can see, I'm just laying them down. Making all my windows just kind of where I want to put them, and of course just wanting to make it look like a haunted neighborhood, I guess, so to speak. And this is what it looks like when it's all finished. I loved it. I will add more, like probably some spider webs and some other little Halloween-y things when the time comes, but for right now, this is a simple thing that you can just flip over and have from fall to Halloween. I went back to the front of this because I did feel like I wanted to add just a little bit more. So I did just add a little burlap bow to the pumpkin just to give it more of a fall feel, though I don't know, I liked it both ways. So you'd have to tell me what you think, if it's better with or without the bow. But I adored this project. It was so much fun to make, and it's versatile, so that makes me happy. So with this one, oh, so sometimes you just got to show ones that don't necessarily turn out the way you think they're going to. But I used two of these summer signs, and I was just wanting to make a larger sign. I am going to use my heat gun again, and I am going to remove those tags off of the back, and again, just warm it up, and they peel right off. So super, super handy tip. Especially if you're tired of ripping them off and can't get the whole sticker off and you're sitting there struggling with it forever. You don't need to. Just use a heat gun. It is the best tip ever. So once I get these completely removed, I go ahead and I want to put these two together. So what I'm doing first is just kind of filling in those holes. I know a lot of people use that wood filler. I just had some caulk lying around and figured that'll work just as well. So I'm just kind of filling in those holes on the side. And then when I put the two pieces together, I'm just going to do some hot glue. And I'm going to use these extra large popsicle sticks. These I did get from Walmart, but you can use whatever popsicle sticks or paint stir sticks or whatever you may have on hand. Dollar Tree does carry quite a bit of popsicle sticks in the normal size, and I do want to say that they have a little bit larger size, but maybe I'm thinking of just another brand from Walmart. Anyway, these extra large ones are my favorite to use. And at this point, what I'm doing, this is kind of where my mess up begins, because I'm using this caulking stuff again to try to fill in this crease, but it did not work as well as I would have liked to. It was pretty tacky, and when I sanded it off, it just left it with a really gross texture even still. So when I painted over it, you could still see it, and I hated that. So I would probably do this a little bit different next time. Maybe actually try the wood filler, or I don't know, something has to be an easier way to fill that in, but I didn't like this. So I did initially paint it this color, and I wanted to use this steel color again, but again, I didn't like that I could see that crack coming through the color, so I went to black. What I did is, again, went to my Cricut, found a font that I liked to print out a saying that I wanted to put on this sign. So what you're seeing me do here is just applying it, where there you saw it almost ripped my letter completely off, but whatever, did take up some of my paint. Like I said, this project was not my favorite. Didn't turn out as planned, but that's what's fun with this stuff is, so what? It's cheap stuff that we're, using, so it's affordable to make mistakes with, but it's not that bad. I guess I still am going to use this sign just because it fits me to a T as far as my personality goes. So basically all I'm doing here is just finishing up the weeding on this, and then I'm going to place it back on the sign itself. And then I did an amazing job of filming this, because instead of adjusting the camera once I put my letters down, I just continued to work, and most of what I did was off camera, so I do apologize. However, I can tell you what I did was used again some floral picks for fall that are from the Dollar Tree. And I used it to kind of clear up some of the dead space that was on the left side of this sign. And that was because, as you can see, I just kind of eyeball everything, and that doesn't always work. So this wasn't exactly even, and again, because of that weird crack in the middle of the sign, yeah, it didn't look right having it dead centered. So I had the lettering kind of all moved over a little bit to the right, so there was some extra space in the left. And what I did, and you can kind of see there at the bottom, was I took those floral picks and I basically just hot glued them down. I used a total of 3, and I just glued them into a position that I thought looked pretty and that I liked. And I did also take another one of those bows from the Dollar Tree, which those fall bows that they have right now, they actually come in packs of 2, which is great because, like I used 1 pack for 2 projects, so that was fabulous for me. But I used the bow just to kind of cover up where I had glued the stems to the sign. And then I also took another floral pick that was just the leaves for the fall picks for Dollar Tree. And I cut a few of those leaves off. And what I did was use them to fill in just another spot that kind of I felt like needed something, which is the right bottom part of the sign, just to kind of fill it in a little bit better. But in the end, I don't know, I loved it. I actually just thought, yeah, it didn't turn out quite as like I thought it would be. It's not as polished and pretty as I probably would have liked it to have been, but that's not really me. I like gritty, I like messy, I like things that are imperfect. So I think in the long run this worked out a-okay. And I think it is super, I don't know, it's adorable. It works for me for fall. I probably am going to hang it on my front door. I did take a picture of it on my front door, but I also have some fall wreaths that I want to hang out there, so I'm not exactly sure what I'll do first. But hey, if you know me, you know my sense of humor. This sign is perfect. It's perfect for any introverts. And I am somewhat of an introvert, so this definitely works for me. But I just thought it was just a fun sign to make. So, and I definitely needed to get some of my supplies used up, so this worked out wonderful. The finale of it, I just put some rope on there just to hang it up, and that's it, y'all. So thanks again for stopping by. If you're new, I hope you stick around, hit subscribe. I definitely try to have a new video out each week with some new Dollar Tree or just crafty DIYs. If you're already a subscriber, thanks so much for sticking around. Until next time, guys.